Well, Craig, the preseason is winding down. It's different, right? Everything about it is different. The rosters change game in and game out, especially with the number of players that the Toronto Maple Leafs have had in camp. But as you get set for game one of the regular season, what encourages you the most?
Well, I think, the pickups we got in the off season, I think are going to help. I think they're good players. Gives us depth. I think we have depth here. If you look at all the guys we have in camp, we have NHL players, they're competing for jobs. The depth of it, our D core's intact. It's the same as it was last year, pretty much. We added Thrun, who's a young puck-moving defenseman that has potential. Obviously, with the Wool situation, a little bit different in goal right now. But Hildeby's had a real good camp. We brought in Reimer, who's an NHL goalie. He's been an NHL goalie, so we have some depth there. So we have depth. It's still, I think it's still up in the air who's playing with who here to find some chemistry, It seemed like we had good practices have been great, and you see a lot of good things in practice, but in the games, I haven't seen enough yet to make them decisions.
How much of that is related to the number of bodies that you have, though?
Well, and that's part of it. I think there's been a lot of bodies, but that's good and bad. The bodies are great to have because you need depth and you see some competition, but at the same time, if you haven't seen enough here, I haven't tried this guy with this guy because it's hard to get everybody fitted in and slotted, right? So we'll work it out.
You mentioned your goaltending situation. I assume no timeline yet on Joseph Woll.
Yeah, no, not right now.
Okay. So you've got Stolarz, Hildeby is right there for you, and I know you like the package that he might become, right? An enormous human being, high character guy, so you know he's good in the room. And you mentioned James Reimer. So are you as comfortable as you could be, given the Wool situation, that your goaltending depth is strong enough?
Well, yeah, I think that's still, we're going to have to see on that, but this is what we got. So, like I said, I think Hildeby's had a good camp. So he'll get another game here Saturday, and we'll see how he looks again, and Reimer's going to back him up. But, Stoley looked great last night in net, and he's in a good spot, and glad he got signed up. But Hildeby's made a lot of good steps this year for me from last year coming into camp. I love the size, the passion he has for the game. He's a good character, a kid. So, we'll see.
All right, you're entering your second full season as head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. How much have you had to adapt? And maybe that's just coaching period, right? Because, younger players come in every season. You're a straightforward guy. You're a really solid communicator. Do you push buttons, or are you past that stage now where you've got good relationships with the guys that know you based on last year, and it's less about that and it's more about just the consistency of the messaging?
Consistency of the message. And, I think you battle at every camp. I really do. Like your identity, how you want to look, how you want to play. We see that in preseason games, just off page a little bit and, not playing that direct game that we want to play, and the forechecking style of game we want to play. You see parts of it and it's good for a bit and then it goes away because it's hard to play that way. That's a hard game, but that's the way we need to play to be successful, in my opinion.
And do you have the players to play that way, or is that to be determined?
Well, I think we added a couple guys with Waugh and Joshua, who definitely pretty straightforward players, big size bodies. Michelli's a skilled guy. He's still a young guy, and he's had some good seasons and in Arizona. I know last year was an off season for him, but he has the ability to make plays, and we're going to need that from him. But at the same time, he's got to just change a little bit how he approaches the game, like any player. I don't care it doesn't matter what type of guy you are, a player, the size, you still can, we want everybody to look the same out there, And I get that there's guys on our team that are highly talented and they're going to do special things at times. But the identity of it, we all need to look the same. You know, we all need to play direct game, be predictable to each other. You know, and I think we did a real good job of it last year. And it's like the process again of getting it going in camp and keep pushing it and keep pushing it. You know, I'm not a button pusher per se. I'm just pretty open and honest with a player. Like, you're not bringing it. It's you know, it's that's me pushing a button.
Yeah, you know, I saw a video clip the other day of the behind the scenes of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the show that's coming out on Prime, obviously, and it's pretty obvious you don't have a problem getting the message across when you need to.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, you got to have compassion in this game as a coach, and that's important because players go through a lot, and they go through tough times, and it's hard. The players, they feel a lot of stuff. They feel pressure. They feel this and that. So you got to have compassion. My job is to help them, and if it's helping them by kicking them in the ass, that's how I help them. If it's putting talking to them, hey, buddy, everything's okay. Just keep working and keep playing. You know, so that's my read on things, and that's my job.
So you've touched on this before, with humor, I would say, but the label of the core four is gone.
Yeah.
Probably not coming back anytime soon. That label, that title seemed to annoy you. Why? Because
it's a team game, and I've always been team first, and I always believe that every guy's got to put the team ahead of himself to be successful in this league. And when you have that buy-in from everybody on the team's more important than me as an individual, you have a greater chance of success. Take less, give more. I always use that term. And, you know, I hear core four all the time. It's not just the four guys that are winning the hockey games or losing the hockey games. It's a team. And that's all it was.
And I haven't asked Auston about this. He's probably glad they're never going to hear it again either, right? I mean, the guys that were lumped into that core four probably have had enough.
It's like, you need your best players to be the best players.
Obviously.
I get that. But it's, you know, over the years here, I think the core four, it was all on them all the time. I'm sure they felt that way.
Sure.
And it's not all on them. It's a team game. You don't have to be great. You just need to be good and consistent, good and consistent. And I think, you know, a lot of it was, well, I need to be great tonight. I need to be great tonight. No, you don't. Just need to be good. You need to be predictable. You need to be consistent. And I felt maybe that hurt us in Game 7 a little bit, you know, after the first period. You know, we kind of did some uncharacteristic things that cost us the hockey game.
And that's got to change.
That's got to change.
Have you coached, been around, or played with a player as talented yet unique as William Nylander?
Probably not. He's a highly talented player. Like, he could do amazing things with the puck and his feet. Just the way he moves on the ice. Highly talented player. And unique, probably not. I love Willie. He's a great person and a great guy to talk to and be around. I actually enjoy my conversations with him because I learn things from him too. You know, he's smart. But yeah, he's probably one of the most talented guys I've ever been around or coached.
And is there another level there? And what is that?
I believe the other level just comes from, you know, I would say more predictability and just like, you know, a little more effort at times for me.
Yeah. Auston Matthews looks healthy, knock on wood. I mean, through training camp, now through the preseason, you know, the goal that he scored, you know, against the Detroit Red Wings on the power play. I mean, everything about that, you know, had to make you feel pretty good, starting with a shot from Morgan Rielly from the point to create the chaos like you've talked about. But there's Matthews in that spot where we've seen him score so many times. Is that a clear indicator for the fans that he is feeling good?
And I think the indicator came in camp. You know, we have a pretty tough camp here, and we do a lot of battling and you know, a lot of corner battles and things like that. And I saw that in training camp with him, just how powerful he was and how strong he was, and very involved physically in these battles. And so that showed me that we have a healthy Matthews, which is great.
Yeah. So we've hit on the principal points of the top six. I don't think that anybody is concerned that the goals are going to come from your top six better talented players. But is it safe to say you need more of that from your bottom six,
100%.
whoever's in there?
Yeah. We need depth scoring. We need secondary scoring. And I believe the guys we brought in can bring that. Like if I look at last year in the playoffs, Lawton, Lorenz, and Yarncroc, who played really well.
Yeah.
They did a lot of great things, but we never got goals from them. And if we did, maybe we move on, maybe we don't. But we do need them guys to chip in goals. That's important. Like I said, it's you gotta have everybody contribute in the game today.
Yeah, and this market is enthusiastic and intrigued by Easton Cowan. And we can understand that, right? But is the better play the long game in Easton Cowan, whether it's full-time NHL status now if he earns it versus, all right, we'll over-season you to make sure you're ready when you're ready?
Yeah, and there's always that argument, right? I remember Couturier in Philly, we kept him as a fourth-line player, and that's not what he was. Right. But he started out there and played really well, and obviously developed into a first or second line center in the National Hockey League. Mm-hmm. We did the same thing with Robbie Thomas in St. Louis. We kept him. He didn't play all the time. He started on the fourth line, got second PP stuff, and obviously developed into a number one center in the National Hockey League. So I think you could do it both ways. That decision is yet to be made. I think Easton's had a good camp. I think, you know, he's done what we asked him to do. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's really close.
Going into the year, how do you define success? I mean, we can look at the end of the year and it's pretty obvious what ultimate success looks like, but you know, for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, what's a successful season?
Well, I mean, I think making playoffs is successful. I mean, it's a tough league, and I hate talking about anything other than making playoffs and just focusing on regular season. We're not done camp yet. Mm-hmm. The process of just getting through camp here and getting our game dialed in, so at the start of the season we're ready to go and winning hockey games, right? Obviously, yeah, success is in the playoffs here. It's around here because they've been in the playoffs a lot, us Toronto Maple Leafs, and we haven't had the success that we all want, everybody wants in Toronto. It's a tough league. I mean, I'm not going to focus on that right now. Right. I need to focus on getting our team down here in training camp, what we're doing, who we keeping, where everybody's slotted, and we got to focus on the start of the season. That's where I'm focused, you know. So I think success is defined in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's a tough league. I really think that you gotta. It's hard to make the playoffs, and you know, obviously in the playoffs, it's hard to win it all. Only one team wins it all, and everybody's, you know, not happy if they don't. So it's tough. I mean, that's a good question, but it's hard to answer.
Okay, one final question. International hockey is part of the business of the game. It is, you know. So you look at the Four Nations last year. Now we're looking ahead to the Olympics. Purely selfishly from a coaching perspective here, does it concern you a little bit? Because your top end guys are it's a long 82-game season and then the playoffs, but you know, then in the meantime, you know, you've got an Olympic break where you know your top end guys are going to be all in on that.
No, definitely, and it's great for hockey. I'm not going to knock it because I thought Four Nations was unbelievable. Olympics are going to be great. I think it's important to have those things for the game and for the league. But yes, it's concerning. Obviously, your players, anything could happen, and that could change a lot for your team. And I think it just condenses the schedule, right? Yeah. It really puts a load on players. There's certain months there's a lot of games, a lot of back-to-back games. That gets concerning too. That's a big load.
Practice time, lack
of. You just lose your the touches and just the structure of your game a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to teach more through video because you don't have the practice time because you need rest. But it's I look at it. It's in every sport.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Enjoyed it.